I just love the show Grace and Frankie. And I
Oh, me
think
too.
and I think that is one that is so chipped away at this taboo of, sex after 50, 60, and 70 for that matter.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into Our Second Act with Paige and Silka. I am so happy for today's episode. First of all, Tiffany, welcome back to Second Act TV.
Thank you so much for having me. I love being on the show.
Tiffany is one of our favorite sexual health experts. We caught up just a couple of weeks ago. We talked about we haven't done any videos lately in the sexual health series, and there's been a good reason for that. Is because these platforms that we operate on, Tiffany, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, are resistant to really promoting this kind of content, which is one of the things we want to address, because that needs to stop. We don't do dirty talk. We
Right.
talk about one of the most important things in our life, sexual pleasure. So again, thank you for joining me, and thank you for encouraging me to go back to do this. I'm excited for today's talk.
I am too. It's so important. We think of sex about our relationships, but really it's for our health.
Right.
It really is that stress relief that we all need. It's cardiovascular strengthening, and it's just so overall well.
Yeah, not to mention our emotional health and depression and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. And again, we talked off camera. We were talking about how to rediscover sensuality after 50. There's so many misnomers and just taboos associated with that. One of which we really want to address again today, and that is the whole idea of toys and, well, self-pleasuring yourself in order to find what your body's all about now. I just love the show Grace and Frankie. And I
Oh, me
think
too.
and I think that is one that is so chipped away at this, or at least is working in that direction to chip away at this taboo of, sex after 50, 60, and 70 for that matter, and actually developing toys for older women. At first, we laughed about it because I saw this episode, and we'll link to it. When they came out with the vibrator, I think it was called Menage a Moi,
Yes.
the fictional vibrator, and you and I laughed about that. And that's when you told me, goes, well, don't laugh too hard because there are products like this, one of which you carry. So let's talk about that. Why this is important, and how can you easily get into discovering toys and discovering self-love.
Well, I believe that toys are an accessory to your bedroom life, just like jewelry or accessories are great for your clothing and your outfits. It just makes you feel better. But we think that, aging, we shouldn't want that anymore. I mean, I meet women all the time that go, I don't care if I ever have sex again, but it's really important. And, with dexterity and holding things in our hands, that's why Grace and Frankie created that product. And actually, before that show even came out, Tantus made one called the Rumble that is a lightweight wand that is designed to be held in a different way, that is lighter. Love Life just came out with a new one called Rev this last week that you can just stick your hand through so you don't have to hold anything. And it's just getting that blood flow to the genital area. It's going to be healthy, and really just the mental clarity that you get and productivity and everything when you are well pleasured. It just makes life so much better.
Well, and what was funny about it, because they specifically talked about, having a lighter vibrator that's not so heavy for arthritic hands.
Hmm.
And at first I'm like dying laughing. I mean, I almost spit out my wine when they said that. And because this was so funny. And the more I thought about it, it's true.
Hmm.
And so we can admit that could actually be an issue. And then when I did more research on it, there are other people, sexual health experts, writing about that. And while a lot of the companies out there are starting to expand their product lines to be inclusive of older
Hmm.
people, women in particular, when it comes to this, there actually is a set of mind now that is wanting to develop that as well. Start with the older woman versus, what do we have in our arsenal that we can market. But I guess the reason I'm saying all that is to let our viewers know that this is becoming more and more mainstream, and to not be embarrassed about it. I'm one of those women that discovered best sex in my life after 50. And that's why I'm so passionate to try to get this message out and talk to people like you. Maybe let's talk about what are some of the main issues that women, run into so they don't feel so alone. Let's put voice to that. The vaginal dryness, painful sex. Talk to me about that.
So vaginal dryness is a big issue with our hormone levels. Even we're seeing it now even in younger women as well because of hormonal birth control and hormones in our food. There's this misnomer that lube is something that you need if you have a problem, but it actually makes everything better. And to really embrace that, I think Grace and Frankie did a great job with that too, of bringing on her yam-based lube. And it's so true because that's bioidentical hormones are found in yam. And then, the whole thing with chemicals, and that's something I'm super passionate about, is that the chemicals that are in so many commercial lubricants actually are more damaging and drying than actually lubricating.
Right.
And so one of our favorite products is Sex Butter, and you've had Bonnie on many times. It is a healing product that really helps with the moisture barrier and to repair the cellular walls of the vagina so that you're not getting micro tears, you're not getting the irritation.
Yeah.
I hear from women all the time. I work with a lot of cancer survivors and menopausal women, and so that they bleed after sex. And that is something that happens if you aren't using proper lubrication.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so don't be afraid of doing that. It's like just part of life.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's, obviously we're going to do several more segments on this, and that's something that I want to get into and really spend some time on another segment is discovering yourself internally versus externally, meaning clitoral versus internal stimulation.
Right.
And what I want to, I can't believe it's already been 9 minutes. What I want to really leave on this segment, leave our viewers with, is one, the whole idea of just being open to finding a toy. And one of the easiest and most, I think, to adapt and less threatening, if it's either with yourself or, with your partner, is one of the massage wands. We'll link to it. Yeah, Tiffany, what would you leave our viewers with on this?
A massage wand is going to cover a wider area and surface area. So it is going to bring blood flow from a larger, you're not just like pinpointing on the clitoris, but the whole area is clitoral tissue. And so you're going to get much more arousal from that. And it's just easier to hold. You can use it between two bodies. It doesn't have to be something that's either or. It's great for even on men too. So, even if you just start, if you're not comfortable with genital touch yet, just start with inner thighs and touching your arms and running a massager down your arms and on your neck and just getting comfortable with your body and your skin to begin with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's an aid to help in sensual touch with which we, lose or yeah, and it just immediately feels good and it has to bring on some kind of pleasure without maybe all the stress of, achieving orgasm. So anyway, we wanted to put that out today, as a food for thought. And Tiffany, I want to hold you over because I want to get into some very specifics on toys, what's important about choosing a toy, and what isn't a misnomer. So we'll hold you over and see you on our next segment of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
Okay.
For more information and videos on taking charge of your sexual health after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Buttons right here. See you next time.